Hello, everybody. weebrabbit here, and welcome back to the Otaku Overload Podcast, episode 50. Now, I don't know if anybody noticed, but starting since last week, the podcast has a new appearance. It had a bit of a upgrade where I changed some of the things around on the YouTube video version. That it's kind of some of the stuff we talked about in our anniversary special, where I mentioned wanting to change things up and add some visuals for what's actually, whatever we're talking about, whatever topic is being discussed, it's kind of on screen now. So I started, editing that in last week, and this week should be the same thing. So that got a little bit of an upgrade, which is kind of fun. And yeah, that's just one of the changes we're trying to make, to try to, breathe some new life into the podcast for the second year, And not only that, but the channel should be back to normal now. Regular uploads are back. And I've had some idea of some things I want to do maybe as some one-offs. So that's kind of fun. So yeah, there we go. October was kind of rough, but it looks like podcasts, like I said, has a new look. Channel should be having some things added to it soon. So everything is on track, which is nice to be able to say that. And yeah, I just hope that people are watching and enjoying, and we'll see how that goes. With that out of the way, though, getting back to the podcast, Legend Jonathan is here, of course. Say hello, Legend Jonathan.
Yo, what's up, guys? I'm back for episode 50. Oh my god, we have like 50 more episodes so that we can finally say that this podcast has been around for longer than a year, to be honest. The fact that 100 episodes is going to be crazy when we hit that, and then from there, we'll just keep growing from there. And actually, that's actually what I'm thinking about right now, that it's crazy how we already gotten so far into the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And then 50 episodes later, and then just every 50 episodes, and it's just keep growing bigger and bigger and bigger,
Yeah, I hope that we can continue that momentum. That would be great to just be able to keep going from there,
Yeah, hopefully we can beat, when we keep saying that about how it keeps growing, hopefully we can beat all those older anime that they have like 20,000 episodes.
Oh God.
Hopefully we can do that.
No, that'll never happen. I mean, it could happen, but you know what I mean? Because they'll keep going to, so
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, for sure. This week, I know we have some pretty big news stories, especially two of them, and that's going to lead into our kind of like discussion for the end of the podcast. I'm excited for that. Before that, though, why don't you take it away discussing your week? Tell people what you did.
So the first thing I did is that I played, because in preparation of the remake, I played Super Mario RPG Legends of the Seven Stars.
Yes. Not only is it good that you played the original, but yes, I am also looking forward to that remake that comes out in about like a week. When this comes up, it'll be like about a week later that same week. I'm excited for that.
I am super excited, man. I can't wait to play it. Like, I seriously can't.
Yeah. How did it go with the original though? Why'd you decide to just to kind of maybe be able to compare it a bit, or why'd you decide to dive into the old version?
Well, first off, I never finished it. I've tried playing when I was younger. And so I was like, no, I definitely need to revisit this original so that when I do play a remake, I definitely see you know what I mean? I could see the differences once I play the remake,
Yeah, it
and
makes
then
sense.
also kind of revisit, get a refresher of maybe some of the plot, So, I that's the reason why too, so that when I do play the remake, I can be like, hey, the story's different slightly, you know what I mean? Because I don't really see the remake maybe having a different plot, entirely, but I feel like there has to be some slight changes, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They have to add...
from what I've seen, it seems pretty faithful. It looks like maybe it's just some of the moves and stuff that they kind of changed up, like that whole T move and the little bar that fills up. Some of that stuff seemed a bit different.
Yeah, I was gonna say stuff like that. It seems like they might just change that. But if they do change maybe let's say dialogue, or maybe they add secret stuff to the game that might you know what I mean? like I want to see like okay, like maybe this will be important to like compare and contrast between the original and the remake. Or let's say like at the end of this remake, instead of it just kind of ending with the parade, because I know that it does end with like the original supposedly. What
Mhm.
if the remake ends with like, okay, that happens, but then like there's like a post credits thing where it hints that there might be like a second one, maybe, or there might be
Oh,
like a
like they might,
continuity.
yeah, like
Hmm.
they might actually keep going with the series now. That would be really cool, honestly.
Yeah,
Like
like
I would
something like
hope
that.
so because people thought that this game was like impossible. That like, oh, it'll never get ported, it'll never get this, it'll never get that because of the falling out that Square and
Nintendo.
Nintendo had. But then I'm like, that kind of doesn't make sense though because it's been like years since then, and they've like Square Enix now, now Square Enix has released so many things on Nintendo systems like Kingdom
Hmm.
Hearts and Final Fantasies and all this other stuff. I'm like, it'd be kind of weird for them to still have that like,
Grudge.
yeah, whatever you want to call it, right? Like that weirdness between them. And so like the fact that they're making this remake, I'm like, yeah, it would be interesting, like you said, if like for instance, yeah, the remake really does end with like a bit different where it's like, oh shit, we might actually continue more in this world. That'd be really cool, honestly.
That's what I was gonna say, because I honestly I do hope that is like the difference. You know what I mean? And if not, that's fine because like for all we know, maybe literally we might still get a second one. It's just they ended off on a traditional Mario note where it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or if not, at least we're getting the remake. I mean, that's still something
And
after
it
all
gives
these
us
years. So either way, I feel like we're still good, but it would be fun for that like other thing you said, for sure, for sure.
yeah, and so that's what I'm like really like looking forward to. And yeah, the game is pretty good, the original one. I think it's pretty nice.
I think it holds
The
up pretty well,
It
honestly.
does. It really does still, man. The music's beautiful because it's composed by the same lady who does like the Kingdom Hearts and sometimes Final Fantasy
Hmm.
Yoko Shimamura or something like that.
Yeah,
She made
I don't have her name off the top of my head, but I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah.
mhm. And basically like yeah, like that music is so good. And then like something that a lot of people will notice when you do first boot up the game is that literally the music, most of the tracks are Mario remixes, but some of the songs are from Final Fantasy, like straight up. Like literally some of the songs are just straight up from Final Fantasy.
Oh, that's funny.
Like I know like if you enter Bowser's castle, the music that plays when you're like in like you're like running around in the castle for a bit, it's literally from like I think Final Fantasy like 6 or 5 or something like that.
Oh, that's fun.
And so I was like thinking about that. So it's like it's such a fun little crossover in a sense. And then I don't know, like I think the game's pretty good. I think the plot is pretty good. The farthest I got was Stroke Town, that's what it's called. And then I was supposed to fight like one of the bosses, and then like I basically just got like killed. And
Yeah.
then from there I was supposed to grind, but then I was just like, oh well.
Yeah, I got you. Are you gonna keep going with it, or are you like, it's a good look at it? I'm fine with like just jumping over the remake now.
Since it's coming out pretty soon, I think I might just jump over, honestly.
Yeah, maybe if you had started this like farther back, but you jumped in kind of
Yeah.
late, like last minute. But hey, like you said, at least it'll give you a good like, okay, I played up to this point. Let's see how faithful it is.
Hmm.
Well, that's fun. That's good that you're enjoying it, that you jumped in and yeah, I really hope that this remake really a lot of people check it out, not just old fans, but new fans as well. I hope people can like see that there's a reason people always mention it as being like a really good game because it's just like really well put together. It's a really
It
interesting
is.
like crossover, even though it leans more to Mario mostly. It still has some of that like Square Enix ishness to it. You know what I mean? So it's
It
pretty
really
interesting.
does,
It's pretty
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, yeah,
And outside of that, I watched episode 2 of Tenchi Muyo,
yeah. Nice.
and that episode was pretty cool. Basically, what happens is I guess the main character he gets kidnapped by like these alien people that they show up, and it's confirmed that these alien people they were looking for I guess his ancestor, because I guess like the alien girl that kidnaps him, she kind of states that the guy that went to Earth was her brother. But then what's
Yeah.
weird, what's kind of creepy is that like she wants to marry her brother.
Nice.
And so she's like, "Oh, like brother, I hope that you come back soon because like the man I want to marry is you." And I was like, "Oh, what the?" Like I like because it caught me off guard. And then later, yeah, like basically we find out is that that girl, Ryuko, she
Yeah.
basically states that she has the power to use like the little stones that I guess the sword that Tenchi has that she can use them, I guess. But since Tenchi doesn't trust her because I guess like she's like a demon technically,
Yeah.
he's like, I'll just give you like one or something like that. And so when she tries to use that stone, like it screws her over because she can't use the powers. And so what happens is like the aliens basically abduct both of them, but then by accident, the girl abducts the dad as well of the guy.
Okay.
And
So
like,
it's just like a whole
yeah,
mess.
yeah. And so basically the house gets shrunken down and the dude just kind of like is there. And then we run into this little girl and I forgot her name. I know she's gonna be important though later because she has like a spinoff and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And basically she lets Tenchi free because she wants to play a game. But then he ends up getting chased around by like security guards. They're like these giant robot looking things. And then it's weird because right afterwards the little girl's like, "Oh yeah, those are my sisters."
What the hell?
Yeah, and so
Okay.
I'm like, what the heck? Like, and so basically it's revealed that the girl, the other alien girl, she's like, why is it that the sword's reacting to like, Tenchi when only my brother's the only one that use it? And that's when like Tenchi's like, "Oh yeah, my ancestor, he's been dead for like 1,000 years." And his ancestor would be technically her the girl's brother basically. And so she starts crying because she's like, "Oh, like that's not possible, like he has to be alive." And also like the girl that he has to be with is me. So like that kind of gets her mad too, that like I guess he reproduced with like a person, an earth person probably.
Yeah, most
And
likely,
then
yeah.
hmm and so basically what happens is like out of like spite, it's either her or Ryoko that they basically crash into Earth. And so now the two other alien people, they live on Earth now.
Oh God. So you just add
Yeah.
people to the cast, right? Like they're just
Yeah.
on
And then
Earth now
like
too.
yeah, and then what's weird is like
Wait,
the
so what was
dad
Ryuko doing there in all this?
basically she caused most of the problems of like the ancestor going to Earth
Yeah.
because I guess like the brother was like I think based off what we're getting is I guess the brother was in love with Ryuko,
Yeah.
or it was like Ryoko and the dude whose name is like Tenchi, not Tenchi, I forgot his name. But basically, I guess like basically they were like rivals or some sort of thing. And so basically he chased after her to Earth, and then he kind of promised his sister that like he would come back, but then he didn't. And so that's why like she kind of blames Ryoko for the fact that they like, she went to Earth and all that. And so basically it's this whole thing of like the girl trying to kill like Ryoko and get back at her, only for like Ryoko to screw her plans up too. And so now she's like a main character now.
Oh, that's weird, man. It's just like a whole
Yeah.
mess of events and stuff.
Yeah. And
That's
then
weird.
like the dad of Tenchi, he's like, "Oh man, like, aren't you gonna like forgive Oh, aren't you gonna like forget the events that happened yesterday?" Like he sounds all happy. He's like, because like now you have more friends here and like now we live next to your grandpa and like that's a good thing. And so like the dad's taking everything so positively, even
Jeez.
though like the house is almost destroyed.
Nice.
Yeah, so like it's a weird like I don't even know, it's just dumb.
Yeah, it's just supposed to be silly hijinks, you
Hmm.
know. But I
Yeah.
mean, is it at least fun? Are you like enjoying it?
I
Because it
think it's
sounds kind
pretty
of all over the
funny.
place, but it is fun, like, to actually watch and see everything play out.
Yeah, I think it's pretty funny.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 'cause just being described, it just kind of sounds weird and all over the place. But I guess it's one of those things maybe you have to like see it like play out to be like, no, no, it's actually pretty fun, seeing all the hijinks and all of the characters interacting and stuff.
Oh,
So
dude, that like it's funny. Like there's like literally a scene at the beginning. Like literally, this was like the first 10 minutes too, where like randomly Ryuko just tells Tenchi, she's like, "I need to see your balls."
what the hell?
Like randomly, she says, "I need to see your balls," and I was like, "What?" But like she meant like the stones.
Oh my God,
And
it's stupid.
yeah, and then like I was laughing and like I paused the episode and I was like, no, 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 no. Like there's no way that this is how the episode is gonna start.
That's great.
So yeah, this anime's been fun. The Mario game was fun. And yeah, that was pretty much my week, bruh.
All right, gotcha. So just catching up on some stuff, basically.
hmm
All right, cool. Not bad, not bad. With that being said, then jumping over to my week, the first thing I want to talk about is that I checked something out that we had mentioned on the podcast that if you remember, I had said like, oh, who knows? Maybe it won't be that bad. I'm still kind of excited to check it out, see how it goes, blah, blah, blah. I'm, of
Yeah.
course, talking about Silent Hill Ascension. That for anyone who's like, what is that? Maybe they don't know. We talked about on the podcast that it was going to be this like streaming. I don't even know how you describe the game, but it's supposed to be like this streaming like group thing, right? It's supposed to be interactive, where basically there's gonna be like the game, it's playing, like there's all these cutscenes, and then at least the
hmm
way it was described, 'cause that's the thing. I'm gonna talk about how it was described versus what actually happened. So it was described, I mean, it seemed like okay, it's gonna be something that's gonna be streaming, and you can like log in, and based on a decision that the community makes, that will determine the story. And okay, that sounded weird. A lot of people didn't really have faith in it because of how instead of being like a straightforward, single player survival horror, the way Silent Hill has always been, it sounded strange. It's going to be like this online community thing, right? But at least for me, the way they described it, I was like, okay, so maybe it's going to be kind of like something like Until Dawn or any of the games like in that, series or whatever, where maybe it's like everybody's watching and there'll be like certain important events and, kind of like an Until Dawn, you make a decision and then it leads to like a certain, outcome, right? So I was still kind of excited to see it because I'm like, oh, it could still be fun where maybe, everybody can be sitting around and watching at the same time and looking at making decisions and seeing how they play out. And it might be kind of cool to, like watch like a streamer play it and like be there watching it with the streamer and reacting to all like the decisions and stuff. Like to me, it still sounds like it could still be a fun time. Again, though, similar to something like Until Dawn or any of the games by that same studio. What it ended up being, I don't know how they dropped the ball this hard. I don't know what in the hell is wrong with them. It is literally this thing where, yes, you log in, and yes, it's kind of what they described, but literally as the game is playing, like pretend you're watching the screen, right? The
Yeah.
chat is on the side the whole time discussing it. And at the bottom, there's all these things like that are really intrusive. And it's like, I thought the whole point is that it would be just the game on screen. And the only thing that you would see is that it would make something would pop up that would say like, oh, the majority of people like kind of like maybe like also like the Telltale games, 70% of people decided to like go the left path and 30% decided to go the right path. So therefore the game's going to go the left path. I thought it was going to be something like that. Like that's intrusive, right?
Yeah.
But no, it literally looks like you're just watching some streamer play the game where it's on screen and the chat's running the whole time on the side. And on the bottom, it has all this intrusive information and stuff. And not only that, but it has all this bullshit where you have to like pay to like make the decisions with like in-game currency. And there's
Bruh.
battle passes.
Oh my
And
God.
you have to like get like the season membership to like solve the puzzles, or if not, you don't get to like engage with the puzzles and a bunch of stuff. It is like the stupidest thing ever. Where it's like
Yeah.
it should have just been, like I said, this really unintrusive. Here's the game. The only thing that pops up is like maybe like the percentage of who voted what direction, and then you make the decision. That's it. And instead, no, it's like this weird, like the game's playing and there's all these like things on screen at the same time, and there's battle passes and there's like a season pass and like skins you can like unlock, and like you have to like do the puzzles only if like you buy in, and you have to use currency to like make like decisions that are important, and like all this stuff is just so stupid. Like literally you can tell they're just trying to milk this for monetization. You know what I mean? It is like the most stupid thing I've ever seen.
That is
Like,
super dumb, dude.
I don't understand how they dropped the ball so hard. Like it looks like someone who's making fun of like monetization and battle passes, it looks like the game they would make to make fun of this practice. It is that
Yeah, it's
over the
super
top.
weird.
And then the story is not there right home about either, because I kind of saw some of like the bits of the story, just like, okay, is the story at least good? Like the moment it starts, that you like log in and you look at the story, literally it's like this psychologist talking to this lady, or I'm guessing psychologist, and like even the trailer, like the intro to the game, he's like, so I just have to ask you one question. Did you kill your son?
What the heck?
And it's like, that is not subtle at all. The whole point of Silent Hill is it's supposed to be like subtle horror. It's supposed to be like symbolism, and like you're not really sure what the character did or didn't do and stuff like that. And still, like, literally the guy's like, did you kill your son? And it's like the lady talking about how like I did everything that, like, I guess she's like a doctor, that I knew I was like trained to do, and this and that, but like things didn't go as planned. And then like everything that they show is just like really, it looks like more like a weird, like, instead of subtle horror, like I said, it's supposed to be like survival horror, and it's supposed to be like psychological and like based on symbolism and stuff. It's all this like over the top like story beats, and like I don't know how to describe it. It just is not what Silent Hill should be. It's like, I
Yeah, I
don't
know
know.
what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can maybe take one or the other. Like, let's say it had all the monetization stuff, but the story was still like the original Silent Hills. Okay, maybe I could kind of stomach it, or vice versa. It's, kind of actiony and like not so subtle, but at least it's kind of like what I thought it was going to be in terms of like the making decisions. But the fact that it's both is just like, oh my God, this game is like a total trash fire. It is like so bad. It just, like I said, it feels like the parody of what you would make if you're making fun of like monetization and like a studio trying to make horror when they don't know what real horror is and stuff. It's so bad. It is so bad.
That is sad.
And I've seen everybody talk about it, like the reviews and people talking about it, and like people are not engaging with this. People are not enjoying this. People are just like shitting all over it. Like, it's so bad, man. Like I just cannot state how bad it is. Like there's no way to like whoever you're imagining, it's probably worse than that. It's just so stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just one of those things where like, yeah, I logged in for like a bit, watched some of the stuff, looked at everything that it had to like offer, and I just like have not gone back since. You know what I mean?
That's honestly good.
And like, yeah, I'm saying like the reviews are so bad. It looks like a lot of people are not engaging with this. Like, it's supposed to go on for like I don't know how long. Like it's supposed to go like every day you log in and you can like make decisions and like like for the story. Like, yeah, I don't know if like how long it's gonna survive, because I do not think that many people are engaging with this. Like, I'm sure there's people who like they love to like waste money, right? And like they'll make all the decisions, but they're probably not getting the numbers they thought they would, because this is just really bad, man. It's just like, ugh.
That is super sad, man.
It is. And I almost feel stupid for just even like thinking like, oh, I'll give it a chance. It might be fun. It's like, to be fair, they kept it very vague, because I thought it was gonna be one thing and it ended up being another thing, but I still feel kind of bad, because yeah, those people who are calling it from the beginning saying it's gonna be bad. And I feel almost dumb for saying like, oh, maybe give it a chance. Maybe it'll be okay. It's like, nope, not at all. Yeah. Anyway. After that trash fire, the next two things I engaged with, or at least were pretty good. The first thing that I watched was Kaguya-sama Love is War, The First Kiss That Never Ends. And basically that's
cool.
because, yeah, Kaguya-sama Love is War, it's a manga. I read all the way through it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very well-written manga. Then after that, I've also been watching the anime series. And a lot of people are wondering, because it had a third season. And after that, there wasn't really anything announced. And there's still story to develop. So people are wondering, are they going to make more of the anime? And the weird thing about this, Love is War, The First Kiss That Never Ends, is that it was actually released as an anime film in Japan back in December 2022. And I remember hearing about this. But then after that, I kind of kind of fell off my radar. Because it's like, okay, it's a movie in Japan, but when will we get it, everywhere else? When will it get dubbed, or at least like subbed and like, released, outside of, theaters and stuff, right? So that's why I kind of fell off of my radar. But then for whatever reason, I was on Crunchyroll, and I don't remember what happened and how I ran across it. I ended up going to like where the Kaguya-sama Love is War anime was at, and I saw that, oh, it says there's like a fourth season. And basically this movie, they uploaded it on Crunchyroll as like technically like the fourth season, you can call it. And it's split into like three. I want to say it was three episodes. I don't remember if it's three or four. I want to say it was three. They split it up into like a few episodes. Instead of being like one whole movie, they released it as if you were watching like another season of the anime, but it's like a short one. It's only like 3 or 4 episodes.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, they do that sometimes with anime films. They'll just cut it into like it fills episodes, right? And I watched it, and man, I really, really liked it. I've said good things about this franchise already. The series, I've said, oh, the manga is really good, the anime is really good so far, both subbed and dubbed. Because subbed is like a really fun experience, and then dubbed is like hilarious because like the freaking narrator is just super over the top, and he makes it seem like almost like this like straight up comedy. He feels like his own character, like he's just like kind of like a troll. It's great, right? And
Yeah.
so I've had good things to say about it. And yeah, this movie slash, I guess if you want to call it like the fourth season, however you want to think about it, it was really good. Like basically, the third season ended off where, I guess light spoilers, but it shouldn't really be spoilers. It should be kind of obvious where this is going, right? But light spoilers still, just in case you might want to, jump ahead to like the next thing on the playlist if you don't want to be spoiled on this anime or whatever. But basically the third season ends where the president Miyuki and the vice president Kaguya, they finally like have their first kiss during like the culture festival. Because the whole point is that so they've always they like each other, but they've always been like, oh, I can't be the one to confess. I have to like trick their person into like confessing first and blah blah blah, so I can get the upper hand, this and that. And they finally have like their first kiss, during the culture festival on top of like a clock tower or something like that. And basically this starts off where that ended off, where it's like the next day or whatever, and they're kind of both dealing with the fact that they finally like kissed, and they're wondering like, okay, are we gonna be like a couple now? What's gonna happen? But they're still kind of with the whole thing about not wanting to really like show like that, oh, I'm interested in you know what I mean? Like they still don't want to be like the one to like make the confession. Technically, they don't want to like be the one to like give in first. And Kaguya, after she talked to like her maid and like best friend she kind of found out like the way they kissed was like it wasn't like a short little kiss. It was like a full on like they were like making out with like tongues and stuff, I guess.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's really
kissing.
funny. Yeah, it was really funny. And so they're all like, oh my God, like that wasn't like really like a usual first kiss, this and that. And so she's kind of like being like all shy about it. And her and the president wants to talk to her, but she's kind of like being kind of like goofy and not really wanting like to like talk to him about what happened or whatever. And then after that, she goes from being super goofy and kind of like trying to play off what happened to reverting to like her ice form, like Ice Queen, where she's being really mean about everything. And she's being like really unemotional about the president and being like, oh, like you thought we were dating just because like we had like a kiss, like whatever, I could kiss whoever, a kiss doesn't mean anything. And she's being like really like the opposite, like she's being really like Ice Queen mode, right? And so the president doesn't know like what to do about it. And so they're kind of like, the point is like they won't talk about what happened. They're still not like talking about their feelings, right?
Yeah.
And without spoiling it, basically that goes back and forth for a while, and we see some of the other characters like Chika and Yu and Miko. We kind of see more of them and how they're kind of dealing with like the way the two are acting, and other side characters that they're asking for advice about, does this mean like we should be going out or not? Well, did that kiss mean anything or not? Blah blah blah. Why is the vice president acting like this and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And what I think is really interesting, though, is that without spoiling it, it leads up to the two of them. They do finally talk. And basically, there's a lot of stuff about like the personas we use around other people and about the masks that we wear because we don't want to like let others in when we have insecurities and stuff. And so I was really surprised that like the other three seasons, they had mostly comedy they had like these moments here and there that kind of were like more serious, but it was still mostly comedy. It feels even when they had moments that were kind of sad from like their backgrounds, it still didn't go too deep into it. But this movie really went there. And I was really surprised that it really left me feeling kind of like, wow, afterwards, where it just felt very deep, very sad, very like it was good at the end. It does have like a happy ending, but it was really like, wow, like it really went places that the other three seasons didn't go. And I'm not surprised because, of course, I've read the manga. I know the places it goes. Again, this author does a very good job of comedy and serious moments and like really good characterization and character development and stuff. But I guess it was just so interesting seeing it in animated form and
Yeah, I
seeing
can
it
see that.
in movie form. You know what I mean? And it was just really good though. Where like, yeah, basically it talks about these personas and these masks that people wear because they don't want to let people in and show their insecurities. And so it's kind of about the president and the vice president, Miyuki and Kaguya, and kind of why they're like this. And it talks again about their backgrounds and the trauma they've gone through and kind of why they feel like they have to put these masks on. And, it leads to like a big confrontation with the two of them and basically about, them saying like, I want to know the real you. I want to know all of you, even like the bad stuff, the stuff that makes you insecure. And there's kind of like that conflict between them and stuff. And it does get resolved, but like the way like I said, they talk about it, it just felt very deep and it felt very like, wow, it just felt like it went places. It was very like real. You know what I mean? And I don't know, I really liked it. I thought it was really well done. I was really happy to see this arc or whatever of the story get made, get adapted. And I really liked it. Like I said, I was just surprised with how deep it felt, how real, and how the direction, everything was really well done, and like the voice acting and just everything. You know what I mean? It just felt like, wow. It just felt like it went to a whole other level that it hasn't done yet because it's always been mostly comedy. And here it just, like I said, it just felt like it went much, much more than that. I know some people complained about it. Some people felt like, oh, it just feels like a total tonal whiplash or whatever. It feels like the mood is too different here because everything else is usually comedy and this one went for like something very different. And I don't know, I can kind of see what they mean, but I don't agree with that because I just thought it was very well done and I really liked it. And I was surprised by how like I watched it. And it was one of those things like when you watch something that really like gets to you, you kind of sit there afterwards, just kind of going like, wow. You kind of just have to like sit there for a moment and you kind of think about what you watched for a while. Like I basically had that, you know what I mean? So I really recommend it.
Yeah.
I think that if you've watched the other three seasons, definitely catch up and watch this. Hopefully, we'll see if they do make like another season or two to end off the rest of the content. I think they will because they end off here in a place where it feels like they could definitely make more, especially because they set up some storylines with some of the other characters that obviously in the manga they do continue, but here they kind of didn't get like a resolution, some of the storylines. But yeah, I would say definitely go check it out. Whether you're someone who has watched the anime before, it's a good time to catch up in case, hopefully they make more. Or even if you haven't watched it, then start now, because like I said, it's a very good series and it's just very well done. The author does a great job of comedy and drama and character interactions and character development. And, it's a very well written series. And so I recommend it to like anybody, like go check this out. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I just give it, basically like a, 10 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. I really liked it. And my only wish is that, yeah, hopefully people check it out and hopefully we get the rest of the anime. Hopefully we get more anime to adapt the rest of the manga, So yeah. Yeah. And then finally, the last thing I watched is that Invincible season 2 finally started coming out. And so I watched so far the first 2 episodes.
Nice.
So right now, as of this podcast going up, there should be 2 episodes out. And not really much to say, except it continues to be really good. Basically, it picks up, I think it says like a month after the end of the first season. And basically it's all about, our main character, Mark Grayson, aka Invincible, that after the first season, he's dealing with the repercussions of all that. And he's just dealing with the fact that he wants to continue to be a hero. And he wants to prove to people that he's not like his father, basically. And he wants to help people. And it's really difficult because he's dealing both with the fact that, he doesn't want people to think that he's the same as his dad. He wants to have his own identity, do his own thing, show that he's different from that. And he's also dealing with the whole thing of, he's graduating from high school. He's trying to balance that out with his girlfriend from last season. And he's trying to balance that out with, getting back into the superhero game. And he doesn't know how to deal with that because, should he be part of the global defense agency and, having people look at him? Should he do things on his own? That sort of thing. So he's kind of just dealing with, getting back into the game, getting back into superheroing, and also dealing with all the repercussions of what happened last season with his dad and, all that stuff, So it's pretty interesting so far. It's pretty good. The first 2 episodes, I thought they were pretty good. I think they're setting up some interesting things, and I'm just interested to see more of where this goes. I feel like we wait a long time, and so far it's been pretty good, but I'm excited to see what else is going to happen, So I know it's kind of short, but, don't really want to get into the details of the episode so everybody can watch it for themselves, but it continues to be good. I continue to recommend it. That's all I can really say,
Nice.
Yeah. Alrighty, jumping over to the news, as I mentioned near the top, we have 2 news stories that are pretty big. One in the middle that I feel is at least very interesting, and you guys will see in a moment when I talk about it. But starting this news sandwich with one of the really big ones, as the title of the first article says, Grand Theft Auto 6 first trailer to be released in early December. So that's right, guys. Even though we don't really have information necessarily about the game, and we don't have any trailer out yet, it was still pretty exciting that basically I believe it's the founder of Rockstar Games, he put out a message earlier in the week where he kind of finally confirmed that yes, it's coming, it's coming. There's a trailer coming. And so if I just read it real quick, it's a short news story. I can just read it real quick. It says, Rockstar Games will release the first trailer for the next Grand Theft Auto game in early December. Rockstar Games founder Sam Houser sent a message released today. And the full message says, it's from Sam Houser, so it's in his words. It says, next month marks the 25th anniversary of Rockstar Games. Thanks to the incredible support of our players worldwide, we have had the opportunity to create games we're truly passionate about. Without you, none of this would be possible. We are so grateful to all of you for sharing this journey with us. In 1998, Rockstar Games was founded on the idea that video games could come to be as essential to culture as any other form of entertainment, and we hope that we have created games you love in our efforts to be part of that evolution. We're very excited to let you know that in early December, we'll release the first trailer for the next Grand Theft Auto. We look forward to many more years of sharing these experiences with all of you. Thank you, Sam Houser. So, as you can see, not too much information, not too much going on. It's just kind of like a, hey, keep your eyes peeled. There's something coming soon, but it's still pretty exciting because it's been so long, since freaking the last GTA, like GTA 5.
Years.
Yeah, GTA 5 came out for the PS3. Then it got moved over to the PS4. Then it's also on the PS5. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. That's finally coming to that's the thing actually too. I just realized that just because they say they're getting a trailer in December, that doesn't mean it's coming out 2024. For all we know, they could still be coming soon. You know what I mean?
It could be 2025 or 6.
Yeah, which I think it would still be the PS5. I doubt they'd release the PS6 that
I doubt
soon.
it.
But still so far off, man. So far off. It's been such a long time. It's crazy. But there you go. It's exciting news. It's just nice to see that something's finally coming. You know what I mean? So that's cool. And then if, basically there's been all these leaks / rumors that at this point basically seem to be real, that we know that it's going to return to a Vice City setting or whatever, or something close to it. And it's supposed to be that there's going to be a team where I think it's like a guy and a girl that you can switch between them, and it'll be like a Bonnie and Clyde type story, blah blah blah. So unless those were like totally off, which I doubt it, it seems like they should be somewhat real. At least we kind of have an idea what the story will be like too. So
Yeah.
but yeah, exciting stuff. These games are always like super huge and like they're always really well done. They always put a lot of like effort into them. So I'm sure the game will probably be really good unless they do something to shoot themselves in the foot, like online only and like a bunch of like, like kind of with the Silent Hill Ascension thing, a bunch of like Game Pass bull crap and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Their single player stories have always been fine. So, fingers crossed. I think it should be a good experience. And yeah, exciting stuff. The only thing that sucks though, just quick aside, it just sucks that they're so focused on Grand Theft Auto these days. They never make anything else, is the one thing I will say. That's the one thing that is disappointing, But I guess it is what it is, right? At least as long as they make something that's good, at least then you can't really complain, I guess. But it does kind of suck remembering that they don't really make anything else these days. But that's neither here nor there, I guess. But there you go, guys. So look forward to that. It says early December, so we're not too far from that. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, now jumping over to a news story that isn't as big, but I still thought was really cool. As the title article states, Braid Anniversary Edition launches April 30th, 2024 for PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, PC, iOS, and Android. Switch version no longer planned.
Damn.
So that last part kind of sucks because it's like, why all the systems except Switch? That's not cool. But then again, the weird part is that if you look at the actual statement, unless I have to I don't know, because if you look at the trailer, I don't remember seeing anything anywhere that says it's like. I guess what I'm trying to say is, okay, it's really weird though. Starting with that, starting with the stuff it's going to release on. It says Switch version no longer planned, but at least according to this story, I haven't looked into it further. It says, as for the previously announced Switch version, a technical representative told 𝐦𝐤𝐬, Braid Anniversary Edition is confirmed for release on the platforms announced earlier today. That isn't a no.
Yeah.
That just seems like it could be that maybe it's coming to all that stuff. And it could come to Switch later for all we know. I mean, sometimes stuff comes to Switch like after all the other systems. We've seen it happen before.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying the prospects look good because it is weird for it not to come out on Switch when it's coming out on like everything else. But I'm just saying it's not exactly a no either. So I think it's kind of weird that the writing of the article makes it seem like, oh, they said no. Like they never said no exactly, So there's still a chance maybe. I mean, it's a small chance, but Anyway, that aside, going off to what I'm talking about. So Braid is this really awesome game where you play as this character named Tim. And it's done in kind of like a retro looking style. It looks like a platformer from the past. It doesn't have very like awesome visuals or anything. It's kind of, 8-bit looking. And basically it's just this game where you're running around, you're doing platforming, but you also manipulate time is what makes it really interesting. And I guess the reason that this game I feel so special and the reason that I feel that I'm like excited for this and is because Braid is probably the first indie game I played that really helped me realize that indie games could be something special, if that makes sense. It came out back in 2008, and I played it not too long after. I probably played like in 2010. So that was like, wow, like 13 years ago, right? Yeah. And before that, I had only really played, like AAA games. I only played, like the Nintendo games or maybe like some of the Sony stuff or, you know what I mean? Like I hadn't really played an indie game. I hadn't really sat down and really interacted with like an indie game. And when I played this, because I just heard some interesting things about it, I don't remember how it caught my radar. It's what made me realize that, yeah, an indie game can be something special. Some of these indie games are like really like trying to do something very different. And yeah, this game, it looks like a standard little platformer where you use time, right? And you're manipulating time to get through these levels. And it's all about you playing as this guy named Tim. And he is trying to rescue this abducted princess, right? So it sounds very Mario-esque, very basic.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you see the way the time is used so creatively, that was like one thing that really surprised me. That really made me go like, holy crap, this game is like so well made and the puzzles are so well done. And it was just like, wow, it kind of blew my mind. And then when you look at what it's really trying to tell with the story, it seems like it's your standard story of trying to save an abducted princess. It seems very standard. But when you get farther into the game, as well as do some of the extra stuff, and you kind of see what the story really is and what it's really trying to tell, it really turns things on its head. And I guess that really surprised me too. And that made me go like, wow, there's something else here. There's another layer to this. Like it's trying to tell something a little deeper. It's trying to kind of deconstruct some stuff about the whole hero's journey and all that. And
Oh,
some of the
wow.
stuff it's trying to say. And I don't know. That's why to me, this game is just like really special. And I've thought about maybe covering it on the channel before. I've thought about it a few times. I'm just not really sure because I mean, oh man, some of those like time pulls are probably gonna kick my ass, and like I would be embarrassed to have to like keep retrying it and stuff, and like cutting footage because I'd probably like take me a while to get through some of these. But it's just so good, and I really would love to show it off. And I don't know. I mean, with this coming out next year, April 30th, like all systems basically. I don't know. I mean, maybe if we can finish some of these current, LPs that we're doing, or even if it's
Yeah.
just like a one-off, I wouldn't even mind as a one-off just to show it off. Like, I really would love to cover it on the channel. And with it getting like this new version next year, I don't know. I'm thinking of when it comes out, I would love to cover it because it's just so interesting. It's so crazy. And like I said, it's just one of those indie games that really kind of like changed the game. I mean, it really made people like me just see that, wow, indie games can be like really like deep or whatever. And I don't know. It's just really cool. You know what I mean? So I would like to show that off. I would hope that people check it out. And like I said, even though it's a new story, I don't know how many people listening to this are going to be interested in it. I hope that people will check it out and give the game a chance because it's pretty cool, honestly. And I'm really excited for this. Personally, I'm excited for this. I can't wait to play this new version, see how they've updated it, just jump back in, and hopefully, you guys will too. And if you don't, then at least hopefully I can show it off on the channel so you guys can see more of what I mean about how good it is, So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Alrighty, and finally, jumping to our other news story, which is the other really big one. And this is probably what's going to lead into our little section at the end where we're going to have like a little deeper discussion into it. As the title of the article states, The Legend of Zelda live action film announced. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. So I'm going to read the article because it's going to kind of talk about some of the stuff that a lot of people have been excited for or, maybe kind of worried about, et cetera. We're going to go over all that. So it says, Nintendo has announced the development of a live-action film of The Legend of Zelda with 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐬. The film will be produced by Nintendo representative director and fellow Shigeru Miyamoto. Wait. Oh, okay, yeah, I was like, the wording seemed kind of weird, sorry. Yeah, the film will be produced by Nintendo representative director and fellow Shigeru Miyamoto and Arad Productions chairman 𝐕𝐤𝐤𝐬. It is directed by Wes Ball. The film will be co-financed by Nintendo and Sony Pictures Entertainment, with more than 50% financed by Nintendo. Worldwide theatrical distribution will be handled by Sony Pictures Entertainment. And there's like a little thing at the bottom that was a tweet by Miyamoto, which says, "This is Miyamoto. I've been working on the live-action film of The Legend of Zelda for many years now with 𝐕𝐤𝐤𝐬, who has produced many mega hit films," Miyamoto said in a tweet. I've asked 𝐕 to produce this film with me, and we have now officially started the development of the film, with Nintendo itself heavily involved in the production. It will take time until its completion, but I hope you look forward to seeing it." So, on the one hand, people are excited that Miyamoto is involved once again. He was involved in the Mario movie, so it seems like he did a good job there. They seem excited that okay, it's being financed by both Nintendo and Sony, which is pretty good because they both definitely have really deep pockets.
Hmm.
So at least it won't be like lacking any funding, right? So that's pretty cool. The distribution being by Sony is also kind of cool because obviously Sony has a lot of no, they have a lot of pool. They can do a good job of distributing, so that's kind of cool. However, the stuff that people are worried about, number one, the fact that it's live action, people are kind of mixed on that. The fact that it's being produced by Avi Arad has people a bit mixed because he's the guy that's been in charge of, yes, a lot of the Marvel stuff, but the Marvel stuff that's like on the side of the Sony. So, like, yeah, he's done stuff like, the successful stuff like Spider-Verse and let's say the Venom stuff and, Iron Man and, some of that stuff that, okay, that kind of goes people go like, that's kind of cool. But then also the stuff like Morbius
Yeah.
and, some of the other Marvel stuff that didn't do that good, like what do you call it? I think he did the second Ghost Rider, for instance, and he kind of did some of the Amazing Spider-Man stuff that people aren't too thrilled about. And he did like Ghost in the Shell and Uncharted, which is like pretty mixed, you know what I mean? So yeah, people are kind of about that. And then Wes Ball, who's like set to direct it, he did Maze Runner, which is, a bit mixed. Some people weren't too thrilled about how those were adapted. And then he also did actually I think that's all he's really done so far, actually.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's only really done Maze Runner, actually. And then he's supposed to do this and another Planet of the Apes movie, honestly.
Hmm.
So yeah, he only really has those under his belt. Just the Maze Runner movies, which like I said, they kind of had mixed reception. So yeah, people are kind of mixed about this because they're not too thrilled about the producer. They're not too thrilled about the director. They're kind of mixed about the whole live action thing. And the fact that it's Sony, people already started making jokes that like, oh, Sony, does that mean that they're gonna make like Tom Holland Link and they're gonna like stick, you know, Dwayne the Rock Johnson in there somewhere, and they started making all these jokes about people that Sony like uses a lot, I guess, and whether they'll stick them in there. So yeah, people are a bit mixed about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think about this?
Um, a live action Zelda would be cool, but something me and a lot of like colleagues have said is that I feel like it would be better if it was like an animated one as well, kind of like the Mario one.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused. You just made an anime movie that did really well. Why are you doing your next biggest franchise in live action? Why didn't
Yeah.
you follow it up by having another animated thing? That I agree with that. That's like really weird to me.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it's very weird. And then, like, the way we were stating it is it would make sense if it was animated as well. Because, like, if they want to go into, like, let's say, like, an anime direction, because why not? Like, they can make the action stuff look really well in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Another thing I was thinking, because like, if you have to go live action, there's so much you can't really do in live action. That's why animated is so cool because you can like have anything you want happen, any environment, any action, any look to like the characters, etc. While if you go
mhm.
live action, it's different because like the action's gonna be like kind of different. You have to like, really rely on CGI for a lot of stuff and like environments and characters, maybe they won't be like as believable technically. There's always that like uncanniness and like there's so much magic and like, stuff in the series. It's weird to like not go with an animated version.
That's what I was thinking. Like, it would have been better if it was animated. And then, like, I don't even know. Because, like, it depends. Because we know this is like a Zelda movie. And we know that like if they kind of do like Mario where it doesn't really matter, they're just gonna make a plot up from like this like off the top of the head. Like it kind of depends on like what type of Link you're gonna go with anyways too. Because like Link can be any Link, but then like it's kind of like who are we talking about exactly? Are you talking about the one with like the yellow ring around the hat? Are you talking about Breath of the Wild? Are you talking about the most iconic one, which is like Hero of Time? Like it's kind of like what Link Arena also have too. Like you have to kind of think about that too.
Oh, and
And
then
that
another thing people are worried about, they're like, oh, does that mean he's gonna talk? Because people are like, they don't want him to talk, but some people are like, well, it would make sense for him to talk. Like in the games, he's technically talking, and it's just a lot of times we don't
we
see
don't.
it. Like, you just
Mhm.
pick his dialogue, you know what I mean? And like, so like people are worried about that. And then like, what do you think about like the whole casting thing? Do you think like, are you afraid they're gonna cast all these like famous act celebrities in it, and like it might mess it up? Like, what are your thoughts there? I guess.
With that, on the other hand, with the whole like the celebrity thing, like at the same time I do care, but at the same time, like I've never been one of those people that kind of get pissed off either when they try to put celebrities and like stuff like that, kind of like the Mario movie thing. I actually thought it was really funny, and I was kind of hyped to see if Chris Pratt would still do something good enough that it would actually fit Mario, and I think it kind of did in a sense. Um, but I would say that if it's like Tom Holland as Link, I would be kind of like, oh come on, like really guys, like Tom Holland, like you guys couldn't choose anyone else, you know?
It would be kind of goofy. Like, I don't think he's the worst choice in the world. I
Yeah,
think
but
he
it's just
has
like, come
talent
on,
and
guys.
stuff, but it would be kind of goofy, honestly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like, come on, guys. Or it's like Chris Pratt again. And I'm
Oh my
like,
God.
really? Like you
Oh
guys are,
God.
yeah, like,
And what do you
uh,
think about the people like directing and producing it? Like, are you worried? Or are you kind of like, it's fine, you know? Because
I think it's,
a lot of people were probably worried about, elimination, and they were worried about, like you said, kind of like some of the people doing the voice acting, but you saw it was fine. It looks like, Nintendo really worked with them to like really, it was fine, I mean, so what do you think in terms of this stuff here?
um, I think it's gonna be all right too. If like people like that, like where it was kind of in the middle, that is where I'm gonna get kind of worried if like Miyamoto, you know how Miyamoto's gonna be working with them. If like Miyamoto, like even though we do know that he does care about his properties a lot, where he kind of prevents people from doing like new things, you know, in a sense.
Yeah.
If Miyamoto does have more control over this, kind of like with Mario RPGs and stuff, where he gets kind of sensitive of, hey, don't make new characters, other crap like that, I would hope that he has a lot more control over like the people who want to direct the thing, and maybe they want to go in a direction that has nothing to do with Zelda. I would like if like that's what happens, you know? But like if Miyamoto clearly says like, oh no, like I gave these guys like complete control, I'd be like, oh yeah, no, like I would kind of get kind of like suspicious of being like, okay, like is this gonna actually be good, or is this gonna actually be like some sort of weird Maze Runner thing since the guy, he worked on Maze Runner, if he's gonna have like some weird like plot stuff and like ideas, you know?
Yeah, and same thing for the producer, where I've heard that sometimes he kind of tries to like put things in or go in directions too that I think people don't always agree with. I think is what I heard too. Because producer does a lot of like decisions too, right, with stuff.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
yeah, I gonna get what you mean. The fact that he was there, Miyamoto, he kind of helped rein in Illumination and kind of kept them on track. I think the fact that he's so involved, I think it'll be fine.
That's what I was gonna say.
Because if it's a game, I kind of am like, I hope Miyamoto steps away a bit because I am tired of him not really letting them be more creative. You know what I mean? With like some of
Hmm.
the stuff. But if it's a movie where it's supposed to be adapting stuff that already exists, I do think that's fine because, like, okay, I feel like he would be good to keep on track and to not, like you said, create all these random things where, like, I don't know, just think
In
of weird adaptations they've had in the past for like video games where, like, there would be like random characters and plot lines that wouldn't make any sense and stuff. And like, I feel like here he would be like, kind of stick more to like something that fits in the Nintendo universe. You know what I mean? Like, I get what you mean. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings like anybody else, but I'm leaning more towards the positive right now, and I feel like it's too early to tell. You know what I mean? Like for all the people who
Hmm.
are like saying like doom and gloom, and they're all like, I feel like it's too early to tell. I feel it's like calm down. You know what I mean? That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I was gonna say too.
Like right now,
Um,
I'm leaning in a more positive direction. Um, until otherwise, basically. Because like I said,
mhm.
I think okay, the fact that Miyamoto's there, we saw him be there for the Mario movie. I think it'll be fine. I think he'll balance things out. And even though people are worried about like the producer, for instance, he has also produced some really big stuff like Spider-Verse and a lot of those MCU films, just because he's just, I feel like the problem with him is that he just kind of produces anything, whether it's like good or bad, but at least he does a job of like getting it out there. So like, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm not as worried as other people. I think it might be fine. The director, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, he kind of did some adaptations that have been mixed, but again, I feel like he was probably chosen for a reason, and I feel like Miyamoto will be there. He's not gonna just let him have free reign and do whatever he wants. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty, with that being said, that is it for the news. But with this last news story, I want to jump over to our, last thing of the podcast, last thing of the week, where I kind of want to continue this, not so much talking about the actual background to the movie, like the producer and all the, that sort of thing. I want to jump over to what would you like to see of the movie? Like now that we know, I mean, we can't really say animated because obviously I think that's what we would have preferred. But now that we know it's going to be live action, okay? Like let's brainstorm. What do you think they might do? Or like what would you like to see them do in this movie? So what, if any of the games, which story would you like to adapt? Or would you like them to combine a couple of stories together? What characters would you want to see? That sort of thing. Like you said, young Link versus an older Link. Like, start throwing stuff out there. What would you like to see from this? I call this our, Legend of Zelda, movie brainstorm. Like, what are you thinking? What do you think they might go with? What would you like to see? You can kind of say both or mix them together, whatever.
Um, Considering that, I feel like they can't be like kind of like how I've seen people get kind of weird where they want to like go like chronological order type of thing and be like, no, we have to start at the very beginning of like a series. I think the way they should do it for a movie is they need to start at the first Zelda game, The Legend of Zelda for the NES. I think that would be smart because we would be finding out that, okay, there's this guy, well, not guy. Well, actually, yeah, we could put that in the plot as well. That there was this Gerudo guy named Ganondorf, and that he was hungry for power. And long ago, he came across this thing called the Triforce, and he gained power from it because he fought against this legendary warrior in a fight, and these people, these wise men, sealed him away. Now, thousands of years later, he comes back as Ganon, and he's this boar monster, like this demon, and this kid named Link has to save the princess, get the Triforce back, and obviously defeat Ganon because, he's like the evil guy.
So you would
Um,
start with the first game.
and maybe
And you
combine,
you 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 would have the old man to it's dangerous to go alone, take this, all that stuff.
yeah, and like I'm saying, since obviously we can mention like the backstory a tiny bit, just mention the stuff from like Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time, but we're not going to give the implications that the warrior that Ganondorf fought was Link. You know what I mean? Like it's just implied that he fought someone and he lost, and that was it. You know what I mean?
So that's the story that you would like them to do, or it's the story you think they're gonna do.
At least like,
All right, so you would like them to start with that original game, and like you said, that backstory. Keep it simple. There's this evil guy. He's coming back as this almost like demon form. There's this kid named Link, meets the old man that tells him take this sword, all that stuff, blah blah blah. Has to journey around, do the stuff, save the princess, Triforce, all that stuff. Then
yeah, from the first game, yeah.
okay, for me, I know this is kind of weird. I would honestly almost prefer if they kind of did like what they did with the Mario universe. I mean, the Mario one's kind of weird because Mario's never really had too concrete of a story in the first place, right? So you
Yeah.
know how this Mario movie was kind of like an origin, but it was like an
Mhm.
original story at the same time.
Yeah.
I kind of wouldn't mind if for this Legend of Zelda movie, and especially it works so well since we have so many damn links and they all have their own stories. It would
Yeah.
be kind of cool if they kind of made something original.
Oh, that would make sense too. Yeah.
Like you said, they could have parts of the lore in there. Like, okay, obviously there's this Ganondorf guy, and yes, the Triforce, and yes, there's a Princess Zelda, and you know what I mean? But I feel like you can really go very original with it. And you could make a story about Link having a fight, a Ganondorf and saving Zelda with it being its own thing, since we have so many different versions in these different timelines anyway. So I think that would be
Hmm.
kind of cool if they made kind of just went original, because that way, I don't know, that way like no game gets like ruined, so to speak. They're kind of making their own original thing. It's a new story. You can place that wherever you want in the timeline, I guess. You know what I mean? I feel like that would be kind of cool, honestly. Um, However, for what I think they're gonna do, I don't know because they always go for like what's most popular. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
even in the Mario movie, that's why they added stuff like Rainbow Road and the carts, even that has nothing to do with like the original like NES Mario games.
Hmm.
So I don't know what they're gonna do. Like I don't know if they might like would they maybe go with that like first game? I could kind of see them doing that. Keep it simple, same as like the Mario, just a very simple, sorry, very basic origin. Could they go with Ocarina of Time? I feel like Ocarina of Time, I don't know, it might be too complicated. I feel like there's just too much going on there, unfortunately. As cool as it would be to see that. Because there's all the sages, they're like the young version, the old version, jumping around. You know what I mean? I think even though Ocarina is like really popular, I don't really see them doing that.
I think we would
Breath
probably do like Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild, same thing. I don't see them doing that because I think it's just
Oh, that's true.
too much of it is just Link on his own.
That's true.
And like I don't know. I just don't really see them doing that either. Twilight Princess would be a good one, but as a jumping in point, I don't know if they would want to start there. You know what I mean? Even though it's also very popular. Um, Skyward Sword would be interesting because it is like at the beginning of the whole timeline, right? It sets everything up. But again, I just don't know if they'd want to start there with all like the sky stuff, which is kind of weird.
That's what I think.
So I don't know. I think they kind of might do kind of what I want, but at the same time, not really. I could totally see them just making a story that is a mishmash of all sorts of like other stories.
Hmm.
Like I could see it being kind of like the original in the sense that yes, it's Link and he has the old man that tells him, here's the sword, it's dangerous to go alone, take this. He has to go fight Ganondorf and save Zelda. But I could see it having bits of Ocarina of Time with maybe having some sages in there.
That's what I
You
was
know
gonna
what I
say. Yeah.
mean? And I can maybe see it having bits of like Skyward Sword, where maybe they will introduce some of like the backstory, maybe how he's like, Ganondorf is like the reincarnation of
Demise.
Demise, and they might add, the whole thing about like this Link, he's gonna, the whole thing about like there will always be a Link in a Zelda to like fight Ganondorf. I can kind of see them throwing all sorts of stuff in. Honestly, I'm just not too sure.
Yeah, I feel like that can be a thing too, and I don't think that would be too bad because, like, I feel like people would probably be like, "Oh, well, no," because then they have to show every other link before, like, this link in a sense. But then, like, we don't have to see that either. We just have to know that, like, this is where like the story technically does start.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Like, like for instance,
just,
Ocarina of Time, it's not like they showed all the links before him. There's a few of them. Like usually they're pretty separate. They don't really like discuss
mhm,
other stuff. It's kind of like each
yeah,
story's pretty self-contained with a few exceptions. You know what I mean?
Or they just hint at other stuff. But like they like I've noticed when they drop lore stuff in like the Zelda games, they always kind of try to rub it off really quick right afterwards and be kind of like, oh yeah, so blah 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 blah. Anyways, and they just kind of go back to like the plot again, and that's kind of it. Like I've noticed
Yeah.
that.
So I don't know. I think it's gonna end up being like kind of like a mishmash of stuff, same as like the Mario movie, where maybe it'll be like kind of like the first Zelda game, but it's not gonna be totally faithful to it. They'll introduce things that are in other Zelda games. I would totally see that. I don't think they're gonna go with the kid Link. I think they're gonna go with someone who's older. I don't really see them going with like a kid Link, like Wind Waker or any of those. I think it'll be one of the older Links. That's just what I think. You know what I mean? And I'm sure it's gonna be Ganondorf. They're not gonna go with any of the other villains either. Ganondorf is too big to like pass up on. If I had to cast it, I have no idea. I don't really imagine anybody I would want to cast.
Danny DeVito as I was gonna say Goku as Link.
Oh God, yes, that'd be beautiful. No, but seriously though, I can't think of anybody I would want to cast, and I can't really think of anybody they would cast either. Because I know there's jokes that like, oh, they're gonna Tom Holland and like The Rock as Ganondorf, but like I don't think they're gonna go in that direction, not at all.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
I doubt it, but I really am up in the air, both in like who I would want to cast and who I think they will. I honestly have zero clue. Because there's, they kind of surprised us with the Mario movie. They went in like a really random direction. No one imagined Chris Pratt. No one imagined, Charlie Day as Luigi, Jack Black as Bowser. No one really imagined that. So like, if you did have to choose a game for them to actually do though, like let's say they're like, no, we are going to cover one of the games. Which one would you want them to cover?
In general, I would choose. Damn.
All right, what do you think about that? Ones that I know for sure they're not going to cover. They're not going to cover Minish Cap.
Yeah,
they're not going to cover the Oracle games.
They're
not going to cover the Four Swords games. They're not going to cover, Spirit Tracks or Phantom Hourglass.
Damn it.
They're not going to cover, Triforce Heroes or, those are a few that I'm sure they're not going to cover. They're not going to cover Majora's Mask.
No!
As much as that breaks my heart, I know they're not going to cover Majora's Mask. Like, I don't know. Which ones do you think they might actually cover?
Twilight Princess.
You think they maybe would go with Twilight Princess? Like, can you kind of see that? Like, if they had to choose a game, do you think they would maybe like do that?
I feel like it would. I don't know. Like, I feel like it would be kind of cool. Like, honestly. Like,
yeah, I mean, I could,
tone?
And that's what I was gonna say. It kind of goes with it because Sony is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
because I don't really see Sony doing one of the more like
colorful ones too.
If that makes sense. Like, I could totally see Sony wanting to do Twilight Princess because Sony just feels like they would want to do something more mature, if that makes sense.
And dark tones, yeah.
Kind of, yeah. So I could kind of see them wanting to do Twilight Princess, weirdly enough. I could kind of see that. But then the thing is, where do they like do Midna though? Because like you can't have Twilight Princess without Midna. But they actually
they're gonna make her hot.
I mean, I would hope they do if they free cover. But like, I feel like at the same time, Twilight Princess is a good jumping in point. Because think about like the whole thing of like, oh, he comes from like this quiet village and then he sets off on this adventure. And, I don't know. I mean, I can kind of see it. So
also, Twilight Princess was one of the first Zelda games I played, and I barely even like knew the lore at the time. And like it was still a good way to like enter the story. Because all you had to know was like, oh, like Ganondorf's a bad guy.
And he got banished.
Yeah, that's it. And like that's kind of it. So I feel like that's a good way origin story for like that game too.
And I could kind of see it because I was gonna say, depending on what they do with Link, I mean, I could see them being like, no, he needs to have a companion. And the most popular companions are Navi, Midna, the little dude from I forget his name, the little dude from Minish Cap.
Oh, I forgot his name too.
and Fee or Fi, whatever we call her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
And
think his name.
honestly, like Fi, don't really see them going there. A lot of people didn't really like her too much. They thought she was annoying. The little Picori guy, the hat guy. I don't know. I just like I said, I do not see them doing Minish Cap, so he's out. And then between like Navi and Midna, I mean Navi would be really easy. It just has to be like this little orb that like flies around and like talks to Link. I kind of see them going in that direction because Midna would be harder, you know what I mean? But I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I wonder if they would want to make something where he has a companion. You know what I mean? That way he has someone to like talk to if he's like, wandering around doing stuff. And if they
yeah.
decide to maybe not have him talk so much, obviously the companion can do like most of the talking, I guess. But then that also goes back to what if they decide to go with like an original story? Maybe they'll give him like an original like companion too.
Mm-hmm. Like
So
a dog or something.
I really don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Like if I had to choose what I think they're going to go with, I think they're going to go with some sort of a mishmash, honestly. And they're going to put all sorts of elements together. And I think the story is going to be very basic about having to, get through the dungeons and like collect the Triforce and use it to defeat Ganondorf. I think that is the story they're going to go with. Something very basic. Who they're going to cast or who I want cast, no idea. Now, if it was up to me and what would I would want them to adapt, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, honestly, because I kind of want all of them. I want all the big stories to get adapted. I don't want them to do just one. You know what I mean? But then again, I already said it kind of at the beginning. I don't really want live action. I would have wanted animated. So I don't know. I just have really mixed feelings on this. I can't really think of how I would do it because I would do things so differently to begin with. You know what I mean? So I guess all I can really say is like, I just hope they do a good job so I can enjoy it, whatever they decide to go with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, as for what I think they're gonna do, I think it's gonna be kind of Zelda 1-ish, but with all sorts of like things thrown in. And I think it is gonna be a pretty basic story, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too.
And then I think that you're gonna have your Link, you're gonna have Zelda, you're gonna have Ganondorf. You're gonna have some sort of old man that tells you, take this, it's dangerous to go alone. I could see them having, even if it's not Ocarina of Time based, even if it's like a mishmash, I could see them having a Navi-esque character again, because I just think that they're going to want him to have some sort of companion.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. You think Impa will show up? Any of those side characters?
Maybe. I don't know. Like if they're gonna make like a new like original thing, maybe. But if it's like the first game, I kind of
Well,
doubt
once again,
it.
it could be a mishmash, though, again.
I guess like she can represent like the Zoras, because I know in the first game Zoras show up, Gorons definitely don't.
Wait, why would Impa be with Zoras?
Oh, Impa, you mean? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was thinking of the Zora girl from Breath of the Wild because she has like a similar name. Sorry,
Mifa?
Mifa. Yeah.
That's totally different. What are you talking about?
Okay.
All right. This podcast has gone long enough. Legend of John's tired. He's literally, I think he's drained. I think we're going to start wrapping up. But the point is, I wonder what side characters they're going to have, is what I was going to say. Because I doubt it would just be like, I mean, I know they're going to have Link, Zelda, Ganondorf. But I wonder, will they have Impa because she's really popular? Will they have, Tingle or some sort of character like that in
Mushu.
there? Will they have, what?
They're gonna have Moshu or Mushu from what's it called from the CDI games? The
Oh,
guy who
gosh.
sells you the bomb.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. They could actually. They could hint
And
at
it would
that.
be Danny DeVito.
Oh, my God. That'd be really funny, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I was about to say, do you think they'll have Beetle?
Oh yeah, definitely. I can see Beetle being like, and then like Michael Cera. I mean, oh what?
As Beetle? I can see that. That would be funny. No, Michael Cera is Link, dude. Michael Cera is Link.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Alrighty. Yeah, the point is, I have all these ideas, but I honestly have no clue. I have no idea where they will go with this. The fact that it's live action makes it kind of complicated, but my best guess is some sort of mishmash of things put together, kind of following a Zelda 1 storyline.
Hmm.
And I'm pretty sure I can bet 100% that not only will they have Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf, the other supporting character I'm almost entirely sure they're going to have is the old man giving you the sword.
Oh, that'd be cool. Maybe he'll be like Toad. Maybe he'll like follow Link on his journey, and he'll be like Gandalf or something.
I have no idea, but maybe. But that's like the one character that I'm almost sure they're going to have. Like, I feel
Mhm.
like it would be weird for them not have that iconic man telling you, like, oh, it's dangerous to go alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys, there you have it. As you can see, we have lots of thoughts, a lot of things we would like to see, a lot of things that we think we might see, but we, of course, again, have no clue because there's no information. But we're just hoping that it'll be good. We're just hoping that it does well, that it represents the game well, that it makes everyone happy, that it's a fun time. And I guess we'll just have to wait for more information. But at least we know it's getting made. And I guess we'll have to see where they go from there because they've made, Mario now. They're going to make Zelda. Who knows where they'll go from there? I would think the next one might be like Metroid, maybe, because that's like the next most.
Oh, that
I
would
mean,
I
it
would love
was. I mean,
that.
that's the thing. It was the next most popular. I don't know anymore,
Hmm.
but we'll just have to wait and see. I guess you know what I mean. But
Earthbound.
Earthbound would be cool, and it would be like pretty simple. It would be kind of like a Stranger Things
Oh,
slash
they can go in crazy
Goonies
direction.
sort of story, but then like with like some like really dark stuff near the end. But we'll kind of
Hmm.
see. You know what I mean? But anyway, guys, there you go. There you have it. That's our news for the week. That's our recommend. That's our little brainstorm session for the end. That's our stuff that we watched. Hopefully, you guys check some of the stuff out. Hopefully, you guys have some stuff to look forward to now. We will be back next week. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes. And until then, though, take care. All that good stuff. Bye bye.
Bye bye.